Hello, and welcome to NMMI's YouTube Live event. I'm Brigadier General Boris McBurnett, NMMI's President and Superintendent. Whether you're streaming from Roswell or from around the world, we are thrilled to have you here. During this live event, I encourage you to ask questions and to share your comments with us. I hope this event reveals more about our great institution, and I invite you to join us for future events. Let's get started.
Good evening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to NMMI's YouTube Live Leaders Start Here inside NMMI's Army ROTC Early Commissioning Program. I am Lieutenant Colonel Karl Harness, Professor of Military Science at the New Mexico Military Institute, also an alumnus of the ROTC program and the Institute itself, graduating from junior college and commissioning in 2000. Tonight, we are honored to spend Veterans Day talking about our leadership, service, and one of the most unique commissioning paths in the nation, the Army ROTC Early Commissioning Program. First, we'd like to thank all our veterans for their service to our great nation and hope they've had an absolutely wonderful Veterans Day. To explain a little bit about the program, and we'll get certainly more into it, but some of the wave tops, it's a 2-year program. So rather than doing a traditional 4-year ROTC, you will do 2 years, and then you will get your commission in the Army National Guard or the Reserves. You will proceed to a 4-year university where you will get your bachelor's degree. Once you get your bachelor's degree, you will assess, and you'll either remain in the National Guard or Reserves, or you could go on to active duty, because we commission officers into all 3 branches or all 3 components of the United States Army. And so you have those options depending on what you'd like to do. So you'll leave the New Mexico Military Institute as a second lieutenant in the National Guard or Reserves. You'll work with a National Guard or Reserve unit while you complete your bachelor's degree. And then once you've done that, you'll move on, go to OBC, and you'll either remain in the Reserves or Guard, or you move on to active duty. So you will transition to a bachelor's program. It's a requirement for all officers in the United States Army to have a bachelor's degree. So there are benefits that we have for lieutenants once they leave the program here. We can talk about a little bit about that earlier, such as the EAP program to help you pay for the 4-year university. And then we are one of only 4 military junior colleges in the nation. There's the New Mexico Military Institute, Georgia Military College, Valley Forge Military College, and Marion Military Institute. So we're one of those 4. And so if you're interested in those particular programs, then this is the place to ask those questions and kind of get to know it. So throughout the event tonight, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. We'll pick them up as we get to them. And definitely would love to answer your questions more than to us have discussions here. We'd rather be talking to you. So please ask them. We'll answer them live. And then so right now we'll start with some introductions. So first off, I'll have the cadets introduce themselves. Please tell us your name, where you're from, your major, and what led you to choose NMMI and the Army ROTC ECP program. And we'll go ahead and we'll start with Cadet King.
Good afternoon. I'm Cadet King. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm currently at NMMI, obviously, studying general sciences for my associate's degree. The reason I chose NMMI was because of all the opportunities it allowed me. One, I'm lucky to be very close to home, so I can go back and talk to them and see my family all the time. 2, I am operating off of a full scholarship while attending here, so I am very lucky to not have to pay any money, which is an affordable option and available for many other cadets who come here. And I thought the program was fascinating, getting to commission early and get through my associate's degree, then quickly move on to my bachelor's while being a commissioned officer. Cadet Morales, would you like to go next?
Of course. My name is Cadet Morales. I'm from Los Angeles, California. I chose this program because I wanted to challenge myself more, becoming more of a leader. I have a family member who commissioned from here in the 2000s, and he told me about this great experience and wanted me to challenge myself to become a more producing leader that I could apply later on in my general life. overall, I love this program. It's a pretty good program. I get to meet new people, commission with several people in the same program from California. I'll be followed by Cadet Shin.
Good evening. I'm Cadet Shin from San Diego, California. I chose NMI because I was at an ROTC interview probably March or April of my senior year. I had never heard of it. And in like, I don't know, 2 minutes, they had sold me on this place. It's like, sounded like too good to be true of a deal. You know, like King said, you get your full scholarship, you commission in half the amount of time as everyone else. I've gotten great training opportunities, great like actual Army schools, and of course, being Ranger Challenge Captain, you get a lot more privilege, a lot more like just I don't know. You get to watch yourself grow a lot more than you'd imagine. I'd imagine I'd grow if I went to like anywhere else. And on top of that, I get to do it with like a bunch of really cool people. I can call some of my very, very close friends and probably friends I'll have like for the rest of my life, like Lieutenant Colonel Harness. Sardo.
Yes, thank you. I'm Cadet Sardo. I'm the Cadet Command Sergeant Major here at the ROTC program. I'm currently getting my associates in arts so I can move on to my follow-on where I can major in business. I chose the Army ROTC program here at NMI because it was way too good of an opportunity to pass up. I got recruited from my high school. They came up to me, recruited me, told me about the opportunities that it came with. I always knew I wanted to join a branch. I always knew I wanted to join the Army. I had never known about the ROTC side of it other than word of mouth, but learning about the ROTC program and then learning about the path that this creates for you into the Army and into your future career was again way too good of an opportunity to just pass up. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it, team. We've already got some of our first questions. And so the first question from, I think it's the iPad boy, is asking, at what point during the 2 years do I attend OCS? So the short answer is you do not attend OCS. But that's a nice dovetail, and I'll explain a little bit about the program. So as you, once you decide to enroll into the New Mexico Military Institute and then join the ROTC program, we're going to seek to get you contracted. Now, there's a couple different ways to do that. You can either be prior enlisted and have gone to basic training and AIT, really just basic training. That'll give you credit for the MS 1 and 2 years, which are the freshman and sophomore years of normal college. Or we can send you to the ROTC basic camp at Fort Knox, Kentucky. That occurs every summer for MS3 cadets. So those are what we'll call lateral, I think they're called lateral transfer cadets at a 4-year university. For us, they're military junior college cadets. All 4 schools offer the opportunity to go to Fort Knox, attend the ROTC basic camp, which is about, last time I checked, it was about 6 weeks at Fort Knox, where you'll do all the same basic training stuff that most of the other basic trainees do, but you also got the sprinkling of leadership and officership that comes with being in the ROTC. Then you'll come back to the New Mexico Military Institute, and then you'll have what's called your MS3 year, where you are training to go to advanced camp. Now, advanced camp will be after your first year here at the New Mexico Military Institute. So you will train up for that first academic year here as a freshman at the New Mexico Military Institute. Then you will go to advanced camp. It's our job in the ROTC program to prep you for advanced camp, which is approximately a month long. They're doing some changes to it right now, so I don't have the exact length, as it's they're moving some things around for it. But it's approximately a month, and you'll go back to Fort Knox, where you'll conduct the advanced camp. And while you're in advanced camp, you'll do things such as take the Army fitness test. You'll do land navigation. You'll do basic rifle marksmanship. You do confidence courses, rappel towers, and then you'll do what's called situational training exercise lanes, where you'll go and you'll work with your teammates to do infantry tactics. And they use the infantry tactics because it's just a really good way to measure the leadership of the cadets as they are executing. And of course, you'll do lots of foot marching. You'll get to do a 6-mile, an 8-mile, and a 12-mile foot march throughout the camp as well. So you'll complete that advanced camp. And once you've successfully completed advanced camp, you come back to the New Mexico Military Institute. You'll do what's called your MS4 year, which the cadets you're speaking to right now are all MS4s. So they have completed advanced camp. They've successfully completed that requirement. Now they will finish this MS4 year. They've gone through the first semester, and they have one semester left, and they will be second lieutenants in the United States Army. So that's kind of an overview of the program and kind of the two camps that you'll have to go through in order to enter the program and then meet the requirements for commissioning. So to the cadets, did you guys have anything you'd like to add to that? Cadet King, Morales, Sordo, Shin? Probably not. I know it's just a program overview, so no worries. Okay. So the next question from, looks like New Mexico Military Institute PM says, or question from X, how do you get scholarships to the program? So there's multiple scholarships. There's some that you can get to the school that come from the state of New Mexico. So if you're a New Mexican resident, there's New Mexico resident scholarships that you can get. And then the ROTC program itself has what's called an Ike Skelton Scholarship. Now that one's very unique. The Ike Skelton Scholarship is a 2-year scholarship given only to military junior colleges. What's unique about that is it comes with what's called a guaranteed reserve forces duty contract. So you'll contract into the Army, you will finish and you will graduate with your commission. And then the guaranteed reserve forces duty contract says that you will go into the reserves or National Guard at the completion of it as payback for the scholarship. What's unique about the military junior colleges is they're the only 4 colleges that are authorized to revoke that guaranteed reserve forces duty contract and allow the lieutenant to compete for active duty. And so several of our cadets have already used that option and have sent the paperwork in to have that contract revoked, and so that way they can compete to try and go on active duty if that's their desire. So it's not a guarantee to go on active duty, but it allows them to compete. Whereas if they maintained the GRFD on that contract, then they would stay on that track. So those are some of them. The other best way to do it when you're looking for scholarships is to reach out to us. The Ike Skelton scholarships kind of changes about every year. This past year, we had 22 of them available. We expect to have another 22 in the next mission cycle. And then, of course, there are other scholarships that, especially if you're a New Mexico resident, there's a lot of privileges and advantages coming for the New Mexican residents. So but reach out to us, contact our recruiter, whom you can find through jason.garcia@nmmi.edu. And then, of course, just go to the nmmi.edu page /armyrotc, and you can find our contact information there as well. So, so that's all for the questions for right now, at least as far as in the chat. So I'll start this up with some of the cadets. So for Cadet Sarto, would you like to talk about what are some of the biggest benefits or challenges of commissioning in just 2 years for you?
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. So the benefits, right? Obviously, you get your commissioning in 2 years. You get a gateway into the Army, into the highest ranks. And, in your career, it's something that takes, normal enlisted men, maybe 5, years to complete a full contract cycle. It takes us in our first contract cycle 2 years, right? 2 years to get to the second lieutenant rank. Obviously, some drawbacks is we are getting into the Army early, young. I'm still very young. I just enlisted, a year ago. So we're getting into this whole field. We're getting presented to everything in the Army that we need to know, and everything. We're getting introduced to a leadership style unique than other programs or other, enlisted men. And we have to adapt to it and learn to lead an entire platoon in big Army, right? But again, this school gives you everything, gives you all the opportunities, all the resources, all the material to get everything done and learn everything that you need to know.
Awesome. Thank you, Sardo. Really appreciate that. Just real quick for everybody, Mr. Jason Garcia, Colonel Garcia, he is our recruiting operations officer. He has joined us on the chat. And you can see his email specifically is jgarcia@nmmi.edu. So you can reach out to him for a lot of those scholarship questions and things like that. So with that, Jason, would you like to expand on scholarships with the program? That was a question on there. I think I did a pretty decent job, but you're the expert and you're always better at it than I am.
Yeah, so I apologize for getting on here late, but so I missed some of what you said. The key there is that scholarships are half of what they used to be. And so we are looking for candidates that are qualified, at least with the initial requirements up front, in order for us to put you on an order of merit list and vet you for an ROTC scholarship. So the sooner someone fills out their application, gets accepted, gets a DOD-MERB completed, and can demonstrate, the basic ability to fill out paperwork and follow instructions, then we'll put you on that order of merit list, take a look at your physical fitness, height, weight, and all that kind of stuff, so that we can hopefully get you into an ROTC scholarship. And all of our ROTC scholarships are 2-year. Obviously, we're a 2-year school, so they are 2-year scholarships. But when you couple it with the Education Assistance Program, which is what the Army will kick in to help you pay for your last 2 years, the financial benefits at NMMI through the ROTC program are equivalent to a 4-year ROTC scholarship that you don't have to compete for on the national board. I will tell you that this last year, since all programs had scholarships kind of cut in half, they were very limited. I had a lot of people coming to me at the last minute last semester looking for scholarship opportunities, and by that time, most of those had already been filled. There are some other pockets of money that will help you tap into, one of them being the New Mexico Army National Guard. And I get it, a lot of folks are out there aren't from New Mexico, but we use them as a vehicle while you're at school here in New Mexico to get the tuition assistance, help you pay for that, get the in-state, you're going to get the in-state rates, then they're going to pay for their tuition, and then we're going to have you fill out the FAFSA so that the financial aid office can screen you for over 300 other types of scholarships that the school controls. And so the better your GPA, the more things that you put as a resume builder in your application, being a veteran, interest in the military, those kinds of things, the higher probability that you're going to get something through financial aid. Let me think, there's something else. By being an ROTC, we have, the school is going to allocate a $2,000 incentive. So you will get an automatic $1,000 from the financial aid office applied to your account just by being part of ROTC. In order to get that second $2,000 or second $1,000, you have to contract. And that means you have to follow the instructions so that you can sign your commitment to the Army and our commitment to you, so that you can secure that money and other monies that are available based on the contract. So I don't know if that helps, but I can always go into a lot more detail, one-on-one, Zoom call, phone call, in-person meeting. So just let me know what I can do to help.
No, thanks, Jason. You added quite a bit more than what I was able to hit, so I really appreciate it. We do have a few other questions in the chat. They're both related to each other. So military is lit and the iPad boy. So they asked, how is the food? I heard it's great. And speaking of food, how long do you have to eat? So I'm going to open that one up. So how about Cadet Shin? Would you like to take on the food question for us?
I'd love to. I mean, it's like from my experience of like other college visits, it's pretty similar. The only difference is for every meal you get, I'd say a little more than an hour to eat. It's you just walk up, wait in line, and then we have like a faculty that will serve you food. And like, because it's a small school, there's only normally one item that you get, like the main entree and then a side, and normally like some sort of like carb, like bread. And then they do pretty good with doing some like tasty lickies and chewies. You get, like I said, you get an hour to eat. It's kind of like your downtime. Or at least it is for me now. When you're a rat, you had to, or a recruit at training, you would eat, and then your TC or whoever was in charge of you at the time would be like, all right, get up, we're gonna go to the next station when you're in rat training. But once you're in school and like classes are starting, just eat, downtime, either go to your room or go to your next class afterwards, and just kind of like refresh on what's been going on through the day.
All right, thanks, Cadet Shin. So got another question. What's the hardest part of being in the program, and how do you meet that head on? We'll go back up to Cadet King and let you answer that one.
I would say the hardest part of the program is probably just time management. I came from a high school where 90% of it was online, so having to go from being almost entirely self-sufficient and on my own time to having a very scheduled, very regimented everything was quite a bit of a shift. The biggest skill that will help you while you're here is time management. And it's something I've definitely developed quite a bit while I was, while I have been here.
Okay, awesome. And then Cadet Morales, same question. What do you think is the hardest part of being in the program, and how do you meet that head on?
The hardest part of being in the program would be adapting to the environment. From coming from a public school to a military school, you have to adapt and have a structured format on your time hacks, your timelines, and what you have to plan later on. Additionally, it's great to develop these skills now as a freshman and a sophomore in college, because you could apply this later on in life, and this would happen for the better.
Okay. Sigma Goblin, yes, the simple one. What is a TC? That is a troop commander. So it's one of the cadet leaders inside the organization. You've got the Corps of Cadets, then you have squadrons, then you have troops. So then the troop commander is in charge of a troop, and then a troop has platoons, and then the platoons have squads. So that's just usually a captain, cadet captain. So some more questions on cadet life. So we'll go to Sardo. Their Hulk's casting couch is asking, are you able to get seconds on food or only one plate? And then he's also asking about sleep. How much sleep do you get on average? Do you get 8 hours or less? So Sardo, over to you.
Yes, thank you, sir. In terms of food, you do get seconds. You are able to go up and get more servings of food as you like. There's no limit onto how much you can get, but again, there is a time limit. You have that hour to eat, and then you have to put everything away and get ready to leave. So you are not limited to the amount of portions you get for food. So that's good. In terms of sleep, again, as King said, it's dependent on your time management, right? Your days are usually pretty packed with ROTC events and classes. It depends on how you manage your time in terms of homework. You know, if you want to have your own time, like I spend time doing homework, I spend time going to the gym. If you want to have your own time, you have to manage it throughout your day. You pick your own schedule, so it's kind of easy to manage. But again, balancing all that can be pretty difficult. You have to wake up in the morning. On average, lights out will be at 10 p.m., 2200, and morning PT will be at 0500. So that's not exactly 8 hours, but you manage your time to get to sleep earlier so that you can get to your full 8 hours of sleep.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Sardo. So a few other ones. So question on, is there time to play video games and enough time to sleep? So we'll just keep going down there. Cadet Shin, do you want to take that one on? So we already talked sleep, but about time to play video games.
So there's definitely a choice you get, and that choice is to, when you finish your homework and all your duties, is you can play video games, watch a show, watch the game, or you can go to bed. Like if you're like myself and Sardo, we can function pretty all right off like less than 8 hours of sleep. You learn to do that here. So we've been having some fun with like Nerf guns lately, but then we go to bed, wake up for PT, and but no matter what your choice is, you're always going to be expected to perform, whether it's in ROTC, the classroom, the Corps of Cadets. But I mean, depends on kind of what you need too. Like if I need more sleep one day, I'm gonna again, it's like your time management. You have to decide to put down the controller or whatever you want to do, the remote, and then just get in bed and try and fall asleep.
Yeah, and Shin, doesn't the school, they did not have it when I was here, obviously, because video games weren't as cool as they are now. But don't they have an esports team here at the Institute? I think we've got one of our cadets in the program that's in the esports.
There's a couple cadets in the esports program, but yes, they have a whole esports team. They have, I'm not too big on video games, but they have an esports team. And then we also have a game room with a ping pong table, pool table, air hockey, all the good stuff, foosball. We got a little Starbucks in there. But then within that, there's like 8 TVs, and they're either playing a movie on like the main one, or you can kind of go up, hand them your nmmi ID, and they'll, or at least last year, I haven't seen it too much this year, but they would give you like an Xbox controller, and you could go like play a game with a controller in a game, put it in. So you can definitely play up games throughout. Like if you have an off period, you can just go to the game room, hang out, play a game, sit, chat with your friends, get a treat or drink from Starbucks, and then go to your next class.
All right, cool. No, thank you. So go jump back up to Cadet King. I want to answer this question from iPad Boy. He's talking about personal belongings. What type of personal belongings are you allowed to bring? And then he has a follow-on saying that he has a 3D printer and he's not sure if he can bring it. I'm not sure if you're able to answer that question.
Well, I don't know specifically about the 3D printer. We are encouraged to have our own printers. You're allowed to have most things. Weapons are, of course, off limits. You can't have a microwave or any sort of cooking utensil in your room, or candles. Basically, anything that can start a fire or cause direct harm is off limits.
All right, yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not sure on the 3D printer too, and that, especially given the size, depends on the size of it too, as far as being able to bring those types of things. And it is definitely the fire hazard that's the big issue with a lot of those things being brought. Sigma Goblin's asking about how do I get on the esports team? What are the requirements, and is there enough time to do ROTC and esports? So I don't know if any of you guys know the requirements. What I will tell you is that, yes, there is enough time to do esports and ROTC. We have a cadet who's currently doing that. I actually don't know if any of you, the cadets on, if you guys know what those requirements are. I'm getting a head shake from King. Do you know what the requirements are to get on the esports? If you want to take that.
There are no requirements to get onto the esports team. They have several tournaments throughout the year. So it's basically just the top performers in those specific games that get chosen for those tournaments, but there's no requirement to be on the team itself.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And yeah, and so yes, of course you can balance the two. Again, a lot of it just comes down to time management. You know, if you manage your time right, you can do a lot of things. We have some of our cadets here that they are very involved, and they're in a lot of different clubs, and they're doing the ROTC and they're doing the academics. I mean, they're just very, very busy. It's quite impressive, honestly. They're a lot busier than I was here at the Institute.
Hey, Karl Harness.
Yes, sir.
Can I say something?
Sure, Jason, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, guys. I'm looking at all these questions on the right side of the page, and some of these really need to be personal responsibility to do a little bit of research before you come on to a page and ask these questions. I'm going to let you, Colonel Harness, put the sniper school question to bed on that one. But there was one on here that I wanted to answer. And now I don't see it. It almost like it went away. But there's a commandant's packing list that's posted on the website. There's a schedule of daily activities. Sleep, is going to be determined by your ability to do time management, but you have from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. to do sleep and whatever else you need to get done. We talked about the mess hall. And so I'd like to focus a little bit more on some nuts and bolts of what NMMI is, the program, if you're interested in the Army ROTC, or if there's another program that you're interested in besides video games, if that's okay, Colonel Harness.
Nope, it is, and I don't mind entertaining the esports one only because it is a thing that they have here now. You dovetailed me into the sniper question, so short answer, no. Graduated NMMI does not get you into sniper school faster. That is an enlisted program. You must enlist into the U.S. military and go to sniper school that way. Going to the ROTC program, officers they're not snipers. So there's no snipers that are officers. And if you want to do that, you need to go talk to an enlisted recruiter. So I got another question. Is there an Air Force ROTC or Naval ROTC or just Army? Good question. So short answer, no. The only junior ROTC or ROTC on the senior level that we have is the Army. However, and I will say the New Mexico Military Institute is a prep school. So if you are looking to go to the Air Force Academy, the Naval Academy, West Point, or Coast Guard Academy, any of the big federal academies, NMI has a prep program because sometimes when folks are trying to get into the academies will either send them here or you can come here and you're just self-appoint yourself as a prep in order to do an additional year, whether it's to get grades up, maybe get your PT up or whatever. The requirements are they'll send you to one of the military junior colleges. NMI is one of the top ones for that. And then you'll reapply to those academies. Now, you can come to the New Mexico Military Institute. We've had folks join the ROTC program, and they've even contracted. And if they decide if they get accepted to one of the academies, we just break the contract and send them to the academy. That's a thing that can be done. But the reason why I also bring that up is sometimes we've had cadets who've tried to get into the academies. They were able to contract with us, but for whatever reason, the academy wasn't taking them. But they could still get their commission through the New Mexico Military Institute because we have the Army requirements. And sometimes the academies will put additional requirements on that's not necessarily required by the rest of the Army. So what does that mean? That means you would still commission as a second lieutenant into the Army National Guard or Reserves and still have the opportunity to go on active duty, just like I mentioned before. You just don't go to West Point or you don't go to the Naval Academy or any of those, which is fine because at the end of the day, the officer who graduates from West Point or an officer who graduates from New Mexico Military Institute and they both commission, you still call them lieutenant. So there's no difference in the rank. So just to answer that question on the ROTCs. All right, so when I came for my tour, I saw that there was a rope course, and I was wondering if that was a class or an elective. I think we actually have one of our cadets, several of our cadets who work on those courses. Nobody in here works on those, do they? No. Get a head shake for who might be able to best answer that one for me, though. Okay, King, go ahead.
So the ropes course isn't a class or elective, but it is a job. There are several cadets in the program who actually get paid to work at the O course and the obstacle course and the ropes course. I apologize, I lost my wording. I can actually think of several cadets who do that as well as the rappel tower, and we can schedule it for free time. Those courses are open to people who would like to attend during meetings and during designated times when the employees are working. But it's more of a free time thing, something you would have to fit into your time management skill we were talking about.
Okay, yeah, perfect. I appreciate you answering that. Next one, I'm going to go to Cadet Morales. Haven't heard from you in a second. Hobby Bonham has asked, when is there free time? Weekends, evenings? Can you expand on free time at the Institute?
So there's free time. It's all time management. I had my free time. I went to the gym, so I took advantage of that. Uh, there's a lot of time, especially during the weekends, depending on if there's a football game, a basketball game, or a volleyball game. But if you know how to manage your time wisely, you could get sleep in, you could play games, you could do homework, you could catch up on a lot of things. You could also like sign out on furloughs or permits to go to Target, Walmart, all those necessities here in Roswell.
Awesome, cool, thank you. So iPad Boy says, I want to join the Marines or the Air Force to be a pilot. What would give me a better chance of making me a pilot? Well, what I would also tell you is that the Army ROTC can give you an opportunity to become a pilot because the Army has pilots. We have pilots of fixed wing aircraft and pilots of helicopters, predominantly helicopters, but we also have fixed wing pilots as well. So if you're looking to do that, you can come to the Army to do that. What a lot of things is going to help drive that is your GPA, your physical fitness, and then whether or not you can pass the flight physical. I'll tell you right now, in the Army, to be a pilot, you can have correctable vision to 20/20. From my understanding, and you'll have to check with the Marines and you'll have to check with the Air Force and the Navy on their pilot requirements. I think they have to have 20/20 straight up, that they don't allow correctable vision, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But I do know that in the Army, you can have correctable to 20/20, and then it'll let you be a helicopter pilot. And you fly Apaches, fly Blackhawks, Chinooks, and then we also, again, as I mentioned, we have fixed wing aircraft that also fly around the world as well. So you do have an opportunity in the Army if you want to fly. We have that opportunity for you. So here's a good question. What is the student leadership like at the school? I want to give that one to Cadet Shin.
All right. So the leadership at the school is honestly pretty similar to how it would be anywhere else in the Army or any forces or just in like a regular job. Like there's good leaders, there's bad leaders. But this school definitely prepares you to be a good leader. Everyone starts at the bottom. You start as a recruit and you get told what to do. If you mess up, you do push-ups. And then as you go through as time goes on and as you spend more years here, even though I'm only spending 2 years here, I'm a platoon sergeant in the Corps. And everyone has different jobs. So our main person in ROTC is also like the head of the school, the regimental commander. And then we have troop commanders in the Corps. We have, honestly, I think from people in ROTC, we fill up every position. But I'd say the leadership overall in the Corps is pretty good. They do a good job of just like if you need help with like say like classes or just like you're having problems, like they'll help you. We literally have a class that helps you become a better leader and like helps you deal with conflicts and helps you like be a better version of yourself and just a better overall person and leader.
Awesome, thank you. Here's another question. I'm going to send this one back to Cadet Sardo. What is the gym like, and is there a weightlifting class? Can I do weightlifting and PT, or do I have to choose just one?
All righty, thank you, sir. The gym, I mean, it's a pretty small, like, well-versed gym. There's a lot of equipment. It's both public and towards this school. It's just kind of like a normal gym. It's a little smaller. Don't expect like big commercial gym. It's a little smaller than that, but it's still it has all the equipment you need. And I go in there and it works well. In terms of the weightlifting class, there is a weightlifting class. You don't have to pick between PT or weightlifting. I do both. PT is a requirement. You have to do PT if you're in the ROTC program or the Corps of Cadets, whether you're in the ROTC program or not in the ROTC program, PT is a requirement. The weightlifting class, I think I'm not too sure about that. I haven't explored too much on the weightlifting class, but I think it's a class that you have in your schedule. But I mean, other than that, you can just go to the gym on your own time. I go to the gym on my own time. I fit it into my schedule, my personal schedule. But I also do PT in the morning because, again, it's a requirement for the ROTC program.
Hey, real quick, can one of you cadets talk about what a college normal schedule looks like? Because it's drastically different than a high school schedule.
Yeah, I can talk about that. So I didn't go to high school here. I don't think any of the cadets in this room did either. But from what I've heard from the high schoolers is they take 7 classes a day. Their time is very full, like from 8:15 to 3:30. They're pretty busy, and then if they want to do clubs, they do that. But I mean, if you're looking to go to high school here, I do see a lot of high schoolers in the gym. Like they just normally come in at around 3:30 or later, and then you go to dinner after. But if you're in the junior college program, like all of us, you get to pick your schedule, and over the 2 years you're here, you have to take 60 credits, which comes out to like 5.5 classes a semester. And at the end of the day, that looks like 3 classes on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 2 classes on Tuesday, Thursdays. And if you do your schedule right and you pay attention to your time, you can get out at lunch every single day, or like before lunch every day. Or you can choose, like my roommate sleeps until like 10:30 and starts his day, and then he's done by like 1:15. He just takes 3 classes straight. You can maneuver your create a schedule that will allow you to do esports or another club you want to do. If you want to do Ranger Challenge, if you're an ROTC, you kind of have to make a schedule around your PT. Like after PT in the morning, you're tired. I always take a nap before my class, and then I get my day started. But your time in college, from what I've heard, is you have like way more free time than a high schooler would.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to hit some of these are the quick ones here real fast. So is there a Civil Air Patrol here? Yes, there is a Civil Air Patrol unit here on the school. And then, so if I do weightlifting, can I choose not to do PT? No, PT is a requirement within the ROTC program. So if you're in ROTC, you have to take PT. Weightlifting would just be an additional class that you take and you get credit for it with the school. So it would be an academic class. But as part of the ROTC program, you must take you must do physical training with us as well. So let's go to, here's what I'd really like to do. So either Shin or Sarto. Let's go to Sarto because Shin just got in talking. How did you earn your air assault badges?
All right. Thank you, sir. So the air assault badge, right? That's one of the many opportunities that this school offers. I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to go to air assault school over the summer. You kind of have to meet certain requirements in order to be selected to try out for the air assault, to go to air assault school, to be sent to air assault school. So you have to meet, PT requirements, you have to meet grade requirements, and you have to maintain them in order to be selected to even try out to go to air assault school. But I did my tryouts and I got sent to air assault school over the summer. And when we're at air assault school, we're sponsored by the New Mexico Military Institute. So we're actually sent orders to go out to these, different schools out in Campbell, out in Benning, or I went to West Point. Myself and Cadet Shin went to West Point to complete our air assault course. But again, we offer a bunch of different opportunities, right? There's the Ranger Challenge team that go out and compete, and you get to earn, a patch for your, Ranger Challenge. There's air assault. There's other schools. We have one cadet here who have earned their airborne tab or airborne badge because they got sent to airborne school over the summer. Again, one of the many opportunities that we provide here.
Awesome, thanks. And then Shin, did you have anything to add to that since you're also wearing the wings?
No, I'm pretty sure Sardo covered it all. I mean, he's hit everything. Like, you go through a tryout. That tryout is, you get to earn your right to even go to the tryout based off what the cadre, like yourself or Sergeant First Class Gomez, kind of thinks if you can even pass air assault. And just because you get sent to air assault does not mean you will come back with wings. I believe this summer, like, air assault had like a pretty good attrition rate, but I mean, just getting the opportunity to go and get orders to go there was like an amazing opportunity that, like, even if you go enlisted is like kind of hard to get, rather than, you know, getting one of like the 5 people in our program who get air assault and airborne.
Awesome, thank you. We'll go up to Cadet King. I like this one here. What are the instructors like, and what if you need extra support?
Oh, the instructors, it really just depends on what kind of instructors. If you're talking about the Army/SROTC cadre, every single one of them has been in the Army or been around the military their entire career, or for at least several years. So it's very easy to work with them. They tend to be very direct, but 90% of the time they will always be willing to help you with stuff. Other than that, the general teacher population, it's like any school or professors. Each person is their own person. They have different styles of teaching, different ways they assign things, different expectations. There is, of course, a like baseline for what they're required to do, but overall, it does just come down to the person and how well you can work with someone and how well you like their teaching style.
Awesome, cool, thank you. Here's one I'll send over to Morales. Is there good networking here?
I would say yes. There's sometimes like little crashes time to time, but overall the internet is pretty good. It's pretty fast, reliable. You could play video games. You could do your assignments. I'm a night owl overall. I do stay up to play a little bit, but overall the internet is pretty fast here. So there's no struggles.
Yeah, I don't think he was referring to the internet. I think he's referring to networking as in working with people, getting to know them. That kind of networking.
As well, for like networking, you get to meet people who are interested in the Marines, Air Force. You create an entire group of connections here at the Institute, and it's a great experience. You get to know their background, what they want to do, and overall, it's encouraged to create that network.
All right, thank you. And hey, Cadet Shin, speaking of networking, who did we meet this summer that would be a really important network to have, who's a graduate of the school?
So this summer we met the recruiting general from Cadet Command, or just overall recruiting general, right, sir?
Yeah, Lieutenant General Davis.
Yes. Lieutenant General Davis, 3-star general. He is an alumni of New Mexico Military Institute, and myself and another cadet and Lieutenant Colonel Harness and a couple other NMMI alum went and had a meeting with him. We got to talk. He showed us all of his yearbooks, all the cool things he got to do at the Institute, and he like someone who graduated, he said like a long time ago, but he still keeps everything. Like he said he met his wife at the Institute. He still has like most of his close friends. And then just being from the Institute connects you to this like 3-star general, and you're sitting there like a cadet, kind of like sitting there like, oh, like, but I thought it was a great opportunity. Anyone you meet from the Institute, they're very excited, very eager to hear about how it's evolving, how it's becoming. And then it's like just like a mentor or someone you can connect to just because you went here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that was a good example of that networking, because one of the big benefits of coming to a military school like this is the networking that you'll get out of it from all the other alums. The alumni network is very, very strong with the New Mexico Military Institute. There's another question here that says, do they have good outlets for mental health? Yes, there are mental health counselors here. They're all in the infirmary, and all the cadets are given guidance on correct me where I go wrong, QPR, I think is the term. Shake your head yes if I'm right on that for QPR. The question, persuade, respond. Anyways, they all get trained and get sent to, and then they will be able to do mental health counseling over at the infirmary. So that does exist here at the school. All right, so good. This would be a good one for Johnston, but he's not on right now. Is there good religious diversity on this campus? Let's go, Cadet Sarto.
Thank you, sir. Yes, there is good religious diversity here on the campus. We are accepted. Sorry, we allow all religions. We have a church here. We have chaplains. You are allowed to attend church. Wednesdays and Sundays. The church is always open. Yeah, I mean there is good religious diversity. We have all sorts of religions here.
Awesome, thank you. I like this question here. I'm going to send this one back to Cadet King. What is the difference between the Corps and senior ROTC? Are you still part of the regular Corps?
So to answer the last part, you are absolutely part of the regular Corps. There's just exceptions to when you'll be attending things with them. For example, the Corps has a PT test that they take every month, and ROTC has their own PT test, so you don't have to take the Corps PT test. I am involved heavily in both ROTC and the Corps as a recruiter for ROTC, but in the Corps, I'm the Squadron S1, which means that my job is personnel. I talk to people, make sure they are ranked appropriately, that they have the skills they need. I make the morning announcements and narrate parades. So with ROTC and the Cadet Corps, they have their differences, and 90% of the time they are different in a sense, but we try to work together to create one united Cadet Corps instead of a separate ROTC and Cadet Corps. And additionally, we try and combine with the athletes and every single person on the campus, try to make them work together.
All right. Cadet Morales, I'm going to ask you this one. How has the ECP program shaped your understanding of leadership?
Shaping of leadership. I guess there's many ways to describe leadership. You learn how to achieve, honor, and really take care of others as well. The ECP program really taught me how to connect with my fellow MS4s as well. I consider them as a family, consider them as people who I connect, and whoever's above me, whoever has a higher rank, I still respect them, and I have their humility as well, connecting with them and saying, what can I help you with? Do you need any help? Because sometimes all of us would stress out, but end of the day, we're really connected, and the ECP program really taught me how to really represent my leadership as well.
Okay, awesome, perfect. I'm gonna respond for iPad Boys asking, what are some of the physical challenges on campus? I need you to be more specific on what you're asking as far as physical challenges on campus. So if you could clarify that question, that would be helpful, and then we can answer it. So for one, I was going to send this over to Jason. If you could answer, what's the process for applying to the ECP program, and kind of what does that look like for your typical cadet? If you could walk us through that, would be great.
Yeah, the first step is for a student or a prospect to contact admissions and fill out an admissions application and get the ball rolling on that side of the house. The second thing would be to contact me or go to our webpage, because I've laid it out in steps 1 through 5. First, checking out our website. I built an ROTC handbook that answers a lot of commonly asked questions. We have a flyer that's attached to that website so that you can take a look at that. I believe there's also the previous YouTube live video or something thereof And then make contact with me via email or phone. Right now, email's the best method, and then I respond to you. We go over some questions and set up a time to talk about your the requirements that are needed to get into this program and where you fit into that process. And then we move to the paperwork. And so there is a separate application process from admissions. So admissions is one process, ROTC is a separate process, and you can do both of them at the same time. You fill out some paperwork, you send it to me, I review it, make sure it's good. If it's not, I'll make you redo it or at least fix it. And then once we get that packet completed, we initiate your DODMERB physical. So you have to have a glorified sports physical, which is a DODMERB. It's the same physical that's required to go to an academy. And then we schedule you for basic camp. Basic camp is held in the summer after your senior year, just before you get to NMMI, so that you have the prerequisites and a baseline understanding of what you're getting into in ROTC. And so it's we only send folks to basic camp who are definitely interested in ROTC and who are DODMERB qualified. So we got to get that process started. And I mean, I can go into a lot more detail in that along that process line if you have specific questions, but that's in a nutshell how it works.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So we're actually getting close to the end of our time here because we're slated for an hour. So just as we're looking, I'd like to see if we could go through each of our cadets and just, what has the ROTC early commissioning program kind of taught you about leadership, discipline, or just yourself that you're going to carry forward? Kind of take that as a nice broad term, but, kind of self-reflect and, just let us know, what have you gotten the most out of the ROTC program here at New Mexico Military Institute? And we'll just go around the horn, starting with Cadet King.
What I've learned while I've been here is basically everything. I had previous experience with leadership and physical fitness, but I did not think that it was possible to grow this much in this short time period. More than anything, I believe I've learned how to lead my peers, which is a surprisingly difficult thing to do, but it's a necessary skill for life. I've also learned better time management and better just management of everything overall. I believe that this program allows people to improve themselves, not just for the military, but in their general lives.
Awesome. Thank you. Cadet Morales?
Similar to Cadet King, is mostly time management. I learned how to be accountable for my time management, like homework, all that stuff. I learned how to really apply everything, even in the ECP program. As a recruiter, I do tend to make a lot of documents and send it out to my team. There's a lot of things that you learn here, especially leadership. Leadership is one of them. I was a captain for a soccer team once, and I applied that into this program, and it really helps to improve it more as a person who wants to continue with the leadership.
All right. Thank you, Cadet Morales. And let's go to Cadet Shin.
Something this program and this, the ECP program, like instilled in me is physical fitness. When I first came here for minicamp, I had never run 2 miles. And then come the start of this year, like just a short year later, I got selected to go to DC with Mr. Garcia and run the Army 10 miler. And, just being able to like come so far in such a short amount of time. And then obviously they've all hit on the time management stuff. Like that is absolutely something you were forced to learn here. Like if you don't learn it, like that's what makes you go from struggling to thriving. Like just once you figure out how to manage your time.
Right. Awesome. Thank you. And Sarto, ball's yours.
Thank you, sir. So I've had a similar experience to everyone else here. all the other cadets here. Obviously the time management, the accountability, something that this school absolutely harps on is discipline. And while discipline is a self skill that you need to use, something that this school does teach you is growth, right? You grow in all aspects as a person. You grow in your leadership. You grow in terms of accountability, in terms of time management. Physically you grow. You learn mental agility. Like it's in all aspects of leadership, in all aspects of life as well. It teaches you to grow and develop as a person and as a leader, because you're just forced to instill discipline in yourself and get everything that you need done throughout the day.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate everybody.
Great.
So before we wrap up, I was going to say, Jason, do you have any final comments that you'd like to
Thank you.
put out there?
I'm looking through the unanswered questions, and I just want to mention that please go to the website to take a look at the requirements, because I see folks asking about physical fitness, age, citizenship, all that kind of stuff is kind of outlined in the ROTC handbook, and I can help answer that stuff. But this is a physical activity. ROTC requires you to be in shape, handle weapons. You must be 17 or older. You must be a United States citizen in order to be an Army officer. So those are some of the basic things that I see in the chat. But our website's going to get posted, and you can contact me with more specific questions later on. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Jason. Appreciate it. Hey, so again, appreciate everybody joining us tonight and working with us. Again, happy Veterans Day to all those veterans out there. It's a special day. We specifically chose this day for the ROTC to speak about it on Veterans Day. As you know, myself and Jason are both veterans. We're also graduates of the program. And then the cadets you see before you have, in about 6 months, they'll be second lieutenants, and they will be on their path to becoming veterans as well. So it's a pretty exciting time for everybody. So I'd just like to say, again, the Institute does a lot for these cadets, and they do more in 1 year than every other university does in 3. And that is a testament to the maturity and credit of the cadets that are in the program. So they may not realize it, but they're extremely successful in what they do, and I know they should be proud. I can't say enough good things about the cadets in the ROTC program here. So if you use /ROTC, so please go ahead and check that out. It has a lot of the information and it'll answer a lot of your questions, both about the school, but then more importantly, for what we're talking about tonight, which is the ROTC program, that'll answer those questions for you. So if you have any additional questions, please reach out to us. Please reach out to Jason as our recruiter. And we'll see you next time. And as always, we are NMMI. Gary Owen.
Gary Owen.
Gary Owen.
Gary Owen.
Carry on.